The slap echoed through the cafe so sharply that every conversation stopped. Coffee cups froze halfway to waiting lips. A spoon slipped from someone's hand and clattered onto the floor. Even the barista behind the counter forgot the order she had been calling. Daniel Brooks stood perfectly still. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, tightened her grip around his arm, her frightened eyes fixed on the elegant woman standing before them. "You should learn your place," the woman said without raising her voice. "People like you don't belong here." She wore a charcoal designer suit, worth more than Daniel's monthly rent. Her name was Victoria Langford, Chief Executive Officer of Langford Urban Development, one of the fastest-growing real estate corporations on the East Coast. Newspapers called her ruthless. Investors called her brilliant. Former employees simply called her untouchable. Daniel slowly touched the side of his face where the sting remained. "I wasn't looking for trouble," he said. "Quietly, my daughter accidentally bumped your table." Victoria glanced at the tiny stain on her expensive jacket. "And now you've ruined it." "It was hot chocolate," Daniel replied. "I'll pay for the cleaning," she laughed. The word dripped with contempt. "You probably couldn't afford the buttons." A few customers reached for their phones. Others looked away, unwilling to become involved. Then something unexpected happened. Victoria's bodyguard stepped forward. He had remained silent until now, watching Daniel with growing confusion. His eyes weren't on Daniel's face anymore. They were locked onto the long scar stretching from Daniel's left wrist to the middle of his forearm. The bodyguard's expression changed instantly. His breathing stopped. "No," he whispered. Victoria frowned. "What is it?" The bodyguard ignored her. He stared at Daniel for several long seconds before speaking words that no one inside the cafe expected. "Sir." His voice shook. "Where did you get that?" "Scar." Daniel looked confused. "I've had it for years." The bodyguard removed his sunglasses. His face had suddenly lost all color. "I know that scar." Victoria turned toward him, irritated. "Marcus, what are you doing?" But Marcus wasn't listening anymore. Instead, he quietly asked Daniel one more question. "Were you ever in Pine Ridge County in October of 2012? Daniel's eyes widened. "Yes." Marcus closed his eyes. Oh my God. The cafe had become completely silent, because at that exact moment, the most powerful woman in the room realized her own employee was no longer standing beside her. He was standing beside the man she had just humiliated. 10 years earlier, Daniel Brooks had been someone completely different. He wasn't a struggling single father carrying a worn backpack and counting every dollar. He had been a civil engineer employed by the state's transportation authority. His reputation was impeccable. He specialized in bridge inspections and public infrastructure audits. Most reports passed across his desk unnoticed, until one did. A routine inspection of county-owned land revealed something strange. Several hundred acres listed as public property had quietly disappeared from state records. The ownership had transferred through 3 shell companies, before finally landing in a corporation no one had heard of. Daniel thought it was a clerical mistake. It wasn't. The deeper he investigated, the stranger everything became. Survey maps had been altered. Property boundaries had moved. Original land deeds had vanished from county archives. Millions of dollars in government contracts, suddenly connected to private developments, planned years before public approval. When Daniel questioned his supervisor, he received only one answer. "Close the file." He refused. Instead, he copied every document he could legally access and submitted a formal report to the state ethics office. 2 weeks later, his career collapsed. His security clearance disappeared overnight. Anonymous complaint accused him of misconduct. His office computer was seized. His reputation was destroyed before any investigation even began. No criminal charges were ever filed. None were necessary. No engineering firm wanted to hire someone surrounded by controversy. Banks rejected his mortgage refinancing. Friends stopped calling. Within 18 months, Daniel lost his house. Then came the worst tragedy of all. His wife Emily died from an unexpected illness, after months of expensive treatments that insurance refused to fully cover. The medical bills buried everything. Daniel had left. He became both mother and father to Lily. He never spoke about the investigation again, at least not publicly. What nobody knew was that Daniel had never destroyed the evidence. Every survey, every deed, every engineering report had been carefully scanned onto encrypted storage drives. He kept them hidden because he believed one day someone honest would finally ask the right questions. Years passed, the corporations involved became larger. Executives became wealthier. Politicians retired comfortably. The scandal simply disappeared, or so everyone believed. Marcus had been 24 years old during those events. Back then, he wasn't a bodyguard. He had been a volunteer firefighter. One rainy October evening, a temporary bridge outside Pine Ridge collapsed after illegal construction equipment overloaded its weakened supports. Marcus was trapped beneath twisted steel for nearly 3 hours. Most rescue teams believed he wouldn't survive. Only one engineer insisted they keep searching. Daniel Brooks. Ignoring direct orders from county officials, Daniel crawled beneath unstable concrete, using nothing but structural calculations and instinct. He found Marcus barely conscious. Daniel cut through exposed metal with a rescue saw. During the process, a jagged steel beam sliced deep across his own forearm. The scar remained forever. Marcus never forgot it, nor the man who risked his own life to save a stranger. "You saved me," Marcus whispered inside the cafe. Daniel smiled faintly. "I remember." Victoria looked between them impatiently. "What exactly does this have to do with anything?" Marcus slowly turned toward her. "Everything." Because he remembered something else. Weeks after the bridge collapse, investigators had quietly closed the case. Official reports blamed weather and operator error. Daniel had disagreed. He insisted construction permits had been illegally approved, despite serious safety violations. No one listened. Or perhaps someone made sure no one listened. Marcus looked directly into Victoria's eyes. Langford Urban Development acquired that land 3 years later. Victoria's expression hardened. Careful. Marcus didn't move. The same land Daniel tried to protect. Daniel felt his heartbeat accelerating. After all these years, someone else finally remembered.